Folks have been waiting for this one. It's Baldy's Breakdowns here. PHNX Cardinals, Bo, Johnny, Brian Baldinger, all city NFL analyst. And Baldy, we sit here cautiously optimistic. This team's 2-0, headed into week 3. Let's talk positives thus far. You've been breaking down film all day on Twitter. Everybody go follow him on Twitter, Baldy's Breakdowns. What have you seen that's encouraging about Jonathan Gannon year 3?
Well, I mean, the defense has made a big step up. Now I know Carolina got back into the game in the fourth quarter, and that you got to finish these games out. You can't let it, come down to a play. I mean, if it does, you're going to be like Denver, and you're going to get beat. So you got to finish when you have a chance. But I mean, Will Johnson, Denzel Burke, Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell. I mean, all the guys they brought in, they all produced. Like whether it was free agency or the draft, all those guys produced on defense. And so that was encouraging to see, because that's where they really it's early. They're ranked in the top 10 defensively right now. So, they kept, the number one receiver in the draft is Ted McMillan, kept him out of the end zone. They tried 2-point conversions. They tried to, from the field of play, and they couldn't get the ball to him in the end zone.
Pretty unbelievable to see Calais Campbell at 39 in the 59th minute of a football game come up with his second sack to kind of save the Cardinals behind there. But between the two games, Baldy, between the Saints finish and the Carolina Panthers finish, you had to sweat it out. Was there any common denominator there where the Arizona Cardinals really struggled to shut the door on those games?
Well, they made the plays at the end, to absolutely do it. The week before, Juwan Johnson has got the ball in his hands in New Orleans, and he might score, and then Buddha comes in and blows it up and gets it out, and, kind of ended that. And I think they did similar type things against Carolina. But honestly, you just can't let it get to that spot. You can't just let these guys sit back. I don't care if it's, Spencer Rattler or Bryce Young, or this week, it's pretty Mac Jones. You can't let these guys with the ball in their hands, because all the rules are for the offense. So defensive pass interference, illegal contact, like all these things can impact it. It did the third play of the game when they went downtown to Marvin Harrison, and they picked up 38 yards on a pass interference call. They're in the end zone on the opening drive. Like these kind of plays, if you let them hang around a one-score game, and look, the good thing is they're winning one-score games, but you let them hang around these one-score games, it can backfire on you.
Baldy, Cardinals got cautiously optimistic good news in the sense that they went down all 3 of their top cornerbacks against Carolina. Looks like Garrett Williams is going to miss time on IR, but Will Johnson's supposed to come back. Max Melton's already practicing. You broke down some Denzel Burke tape on Twitter. He was kind of not an afterthought in the draft. He played a bunch of big-time college football. He was available to the Cardinals, Ohio State pipeline in the 5th round. Is this a player that's worth a watch here as a rookie in week 3?
I think so. Like, I thought Will Johnson was awesome against New Orleans, and he didn't, and then when Max went down, Denzel had to step up, and they tested him. They went after him, and he didn't give up anything, and he played the ball in the air, and he played it with his feet and his eyes and not his hands. You have to go, okay. It's a small sample. It's one game. It's Carolina. I get it, but you're cautiously optimistic. Like, you don't want to just say, okay, but honestly, like, they tested him a bunch and he was up to the challenge. And so that Ted McMillan is, he's a big kid. You got to coach. He's very athletic. You go back and watch his YouTube tape in Hawaii. Like, this kid is a freak athletic. And then nothing seemed to faze him. And with Xavier Leggett, whoever it was, like, I thought he was all over it. So, if they got to put him out there, I feel, and, San Francisco, what they want to do. It's going to be play action. They want to throw the ball in the middle of the field. If he's out there, I feel like he can defend these receivers as good as he defended the receivers last week.
We'll go from, I guess, cautious optimism to skepticism through 2 games as far as this offense goes, Baldy. When you look at this, what's your overall evaluation, I guess, of year 3 under Drew Petzing and year 2 of the Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. Duo?
Let's see. What did I say? I said, they went to Marvin. I think his first catch was at 11:15 of the second quarter. They tried. He's just not very like he just doesn't wow you out there. Like he just kind of glides. So he doesn't look like he's got a burst. He's not much of a blocker. Like, I don't know. He doesn't really grab your attention right now. They tried to get the ball to him. Obviously the pass interference call, but he was, made a couple catches, but the ball looks like it'd rather go to Trey McBride. It'd rather go to the running backs right now. He doesn't look like it is a feature. Like, even late in the game, it wasn't Kyler's first look to Marvin Harrison. He was looking to the other side of the field. I mean, if you got a 3-by-2 set, he was looking the opposite side of Marvin there towards the end of the game when they needed some plays. And so it's early. He's got to find the end zone, all these things, but it's not like they're going after him and targeting him like they did, Tetero McMillan, for Carolina the other day.
We pulled some statistics yesterday on the show. The Cardinals target their wide receivers the least amount in the NFL. I get it. You want to be a big physical team. You want to run the football, use tight ends and running backs. You obviously have Trey McBride. I mean, I think blame can go all the way around. Do you think it's a partially a byproduct of this offense?
They had a great 2-minute drive at the end of the first half, and the touchdown throw to Mike Wilson was the right throw. Kyler's going to throw it to the open guy, and he got open, and he put it right where he needed to. When I didn't know that stat, by the way. So I thought it might have been a couple other teams that
they're the worst. They're the worst.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, look, Trey McBride's going to get a lot of targets. Like, he just knows how to get open, and he knows how to read zones. He knows how to read man coverage, and they'll check it down to him. He's very dependable. And so he's going to get 100 catches this year. He's on pace, probably for more than that. But it's going to go, Kyler is going to, I don't think look, the interception was the interception, but I think he just wants completions and just to try and stay on track. And, if that's checking it down to, Connor or, Benson or to McBride, that's what he's going to do.
Does that handicap you at all, or is that just the right approach, playing the position?
Well, I mean, look, there's some teams in your division that can flat out score. I mean, the Rams can score. And so, you get in those kind of games, you can't just play like they did the other day and check it down and try to establish a run game. It did come around. It didn't happen early, but it came around eventually. But, in some of these games, we saw, the Giants and Dallas go at it. Some of these games turn into shootouts, and you got to throw it. You got to throw it to win it. And that's just the way the tempo of the game and the scoring, you got to keep up. And so there's going to come a time this year when it's not New Orleans and Carolina. It's going to be a better offense. And you're going to have to play, you're going to have to get in that track meet with those teams, and you better be able to throw it at that pace, or you're going to, last year, I don't want to think about last year, but they couldn't keep up with Minnesota in some of those games late in the season.
Well, the underwhelmed with MHJ. What about Darius Robinson? We've seen some advanced metrics where he's been below average with his run defense, pass rush ability. I push back on that narrative. Barely played last year. Really a complete redo now of his rookie season. He's healthy. Is the best thing for him to just continue to be out there and be exposed and play and try to get better under JG?
Well, the only way to get better is to play. But I mean, Stills, Calais, Dalvin Tomlinson, like, they're better players. They show up, and so I've watched 2 games right now. I haven't seen Darius do anything. I mean, you can look at the stat sheet, that's one thing, but go watch the game and just see, is he getting off blocks? Is he disengaging? Is he pressuring the quarterback? Like, it doesn't look like he's doing much out there right now.
We talked a little bit about the defensive secondary. Obviously, Denzel Burke could get an opportunity with guys like Will Johnson and Garrett Williams be on the shelf as long as they could potentially be. The defensive front seven, as we've kind of touched on, looks pretty good. I mean, Josh Sweat looks like Super Bowl sweaty Jay. You got Baron Browning, who's, his pass rush win rate is through the roof. Zaven Collins, I think, looks good. And then Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson in the teeth of that defense are looking solid. What's your assessment of that? And is that something that can help maybe elevate a pedestrian to below average secondary?
I wouldn't call him pedestrian at this point. But I would say that, they're going to get tested. But I like what Nick is doing with some, like, even, the sack by Sweaty. I mean, it comes off a good stunt inside, and he came free. And, they're everybody has some form of a blitz zero look at the defensive line where they're putting 6 or 7 guys up there, and you're sort of trying to figure out who's coming, who isn't, what's the protection, how do we adjust, and you've got to play those games. I think Nick is very talented at that, at getting guys free. It's one thing if you've got great pass rush moves and you can win one-on-ones, and that's hard to do if quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball real quick. But so you need a balance. You need guys that can win one-on-ones. That's certainly a part of this business. But you also need guys that can scheme guys free and get speed and really heat up these quarterbacks and speed up their amount of time that they have to decipher what's going on in the secondary.
Baldy, you're tuned in on the offensive line. We talked about Isaiah Adams coming into the regular season. He had a really nice training camp. And he and Jonah Williams, for whatever reason, have had a really tough time to start this year. I'm going to ask you from a coaching perspective. Clayton Adams goes to Dallas as their OC. They're looking pretty good by comparison, at least offensively. Justin Fry from Ohio State comes to Arizona. Is it as simple as like, okay, we've got a new O-line coach, we got to smooth some things out because they're not as stout up front as they were a year ago?
Yeah, but you don't see Derek Brown every week. That guy's just, 2 years ago when he was healthy, I think he set an NFL record. He had over 100 tackles from the defensive tackle position. It's never been done before. The guy's just a beast. And Isaiah had a hard time with him. Yep. And everybody's going to have a hard time with Derek Brown. He's healthy, and he's just a man out there. But you look, offensive line coaches, you can't take these guys for granted. Mm-hmm. Dallas ran the ball really good against the Giants, and the way that they ran it was different than what they had done. And that's what Schottenheimer wants. Not Clayton's gone, but not everybody has an offensive line coach that can develop a line, that can fix things game day, that can make adjustments, that can develop young players. And I don't know, I don't know much about, the new guy. Ohio State obviously, had a fantastic program. They had 2 great backs that are both playing right now in the league. But, this offensive line coaches, the great ones, they earn their money. It's the most important position coach on the entire staff, bar none. And so, because it's the most important position as a group. And so, I want to see a little bit here because they haven't run it well yet. And they ran it well last year against a lot of good teams. So I want to watch a little bit more right now.
We got Kyle Shanahan saying that Brock Purdy has a chance to play Sunday, if not, Mac Jones, who had 3 touchdown passes against the Saints. We turn the page. You got 2-0 teams squaring off in Santa Clara. Beyond Brock Purdy, this is a Niners team that's staring down, not having George Kittle. He's on IR and already had injuries, all up and down that roster. Who do you see has the advantage in this NFC West showdown, and what can the Cardinals do to maybe get the win on the road?
Well, here's one thing is, and I hope I understand the question, but
yeah,
honestly, you can't look at, okay, Kittle's out. Look at Jake Tongas. He won the game for him against Seattle. He had 5 catches last week. The other tight end caught a touchdown pass last week. Kittle is special, but other guys have stepped up. They lost their left guard in the game. A rookie came in, Colby Connor, he played pretty good. Mac Jones played really well. But the real problem for the defense is going to be McCaffrey because he's starting to look like McCaffrey circa 2023. Now, he hasn't broken a long run yet, but he's catching the ball. He's stopping on a dime. You're starting to see McCaffrey come back. Now, I said last week in watching the game, he's really close to breaking a long one. And so that offense runs through McCaffrey, regardless of who's at quarterback. And so, he's getting a lot of touches, especially in the passing game right now. And when he's healthy, Kyle Shanahan can be as good as anybody at designing offense in this league.
How would you attack the Niners defense with the Cardinals personnel, given with what you've seen so far?
Well, I'd want to know where 97 is at all times. Bosa's playing great right now. But, look, the kid opposite him that they picked up, from the Eagles, Bryce Huff, he closed the game out last week. They've had 2 close games in a row. Bosa closed it out week 1 against Seattle, got a fumble, sack, fumble, and recovery against Sam Darnold to win the game. Last week, Bryce Huff did the same thing at the end of the game, got the ball out. That guy's he sacked that quarterback last week in 2.1 seconds. He's got a takeoff. So those 2 guys, and then just Fred Warner's just Fred Warner. He's playing with his hair on fire right now. And they got a lot of young players there. Upton Stout's a young guy. Marquez Siegel. They got young guys that they do make some mistakes, but man, they look like they play with their hair. Like they play like Cardinal defensive players play, like Buddha plays. And so they're flying. They're flying to the football. They're fun to watch, and they're very violent. So if you don't know who D Winters is, that guy like hits everything that moves. So they're much improved under Robert Saleh. They're much more aggressive. They're faster, and they present some problems right now.
Got any feel for the Cardinals two games into it? Maybe bigger picture.
Well, look, they spent all their resources on defense, and the defense is certainly much better. But I am concerned about what they have let up in the fourth quarter, because that's where these games are all won and lost, in the fourth quarter. So until they just shut somebody down for 4 quarters, I'm still, as we said from the beginning, cautiously optimistic. But they're an improved football team. I want to see Kyler in a big spot. Really, like we just saw Baker, the other night. Like I want to see what I've seen from Justin Herbert. Like these guys in big spots win games, tight games. And so I want to see that from Kyler. And, they haven't really been in that situation yet, but maybe, if you want to take control of the division and be on top, your quarterback's probably going to have to play pretty special, and certainly his best football to date.
Baldy, where are you at this weekend?
I'm right here in Philly to watch the Rams. The Rams and Eagles go at it. So it's an A game, man.
Cardinals chasing the Rams. Eagles class the NFC right now. Baldy, class of our show. We appreciate you, my guy. Follow him on Twitter. Check out his work. NFL All-City analyst here with PHNX Sports. Baldy, we appreciate you, my guy.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Yep, talk to you next week.